Emily Carter clutched her daughter Lily close, as Daniel slammed the apartment door behind him, his rage echoing in her ears. Emily whispered, "I will protect you," though her voice trembled. The sirens outside wailed faintly, as if warning of the storm already brewing inside her chest. Her heart pounded, and the air felt heavy, sharp with betrayal. Lily pressed her small face into Emily's shoulder, her muffled sobs pulling tears Emily fought to hide. Daniel's last glare, twisted with fury, burned into her memory. The silence that followed was worse than the scream. A silence filled with fear, doubt, and the terrifying question of what would come next. Emily whispered again, "We'll get through this, I promise," though even she wasn't sure she believed it. The apartment felt hollow after Daniel's exit, silence like a weight pressing against Emily's chest. She moved toward the sofa, whispering to Lily, "It's okay, sweetheart." Her words cracked, betraying the fear she tried to hide. Lily clung tighter, her small arms like chains of desperate love. Emily's eyes swept the room. The mess, the overturned chair, the shattered calm. She sighed, trying to summon strength from exhaustion. "We'll fix this," she murmured. The ticking clock on the wall grew louder, each beat marking time lost. Emily closed her eyes, imagining how she could face what was to come, knowing this was only the beginning. Emily rose from the sofa, carrying Lily to her bedroom. The little girl whispered, "Mommy, will he come back?" Emily swallowed hard, forcing calm into her answer. "Not tonight, darling." She tucked Lily beneath the blanket, brushing hair from her face. A tender moment glimmered in the fear, Emily stroking her child's cheek. But beneath the comfort was her private dread, that Daniel's anger would not stop here, that the fight had only just begun. She bent down and kissed Lily's forehead. "You're safe with me." Yet the echo of the slammed door haunted her like thunder refusing to fade. The apartment returned to silence once Lily drifted off. Emily sat at the kitchen table, her head resting in her hands. Bills scattered across the surface glared back at her like silent accusers. She whispered to herself, "I can't lose her." Tears pooled, but she refused to let them fall. The hum of the refrigerator filled the air, mocking her fragile composure. Her phone buzzed on the table, a message flashing from an unknown number. Emily hesitated, dread coiling in her stomach. She didn't open it, not yet. The fear of what it might contain froze her in place. Emily finally reached for the phone, her hand trembling as she tapped the screen. The message read, "You can't hide forever." Her breath caught, and the room seemed to shrink around her. Her chest tightened as fear turned into resolve. She whispered to herself, "I won't let him win." Standing abruptly, she closed the curtains, locking the window. She glanced at Lily's closed door, her fear shifting into determination. Her past was colliding with her present, and she knew the battle ahead would demand everything she had left. Morning light crept into the apartment, gray and cold, as Emily Carter forced herself out of bed. The weight of last night's fight clung to her like a second skin. She moved quietly to the kitchen, careful not to wake Lily, whose fragile sleep she had finally managed to protect. The table was still littered with unpaid bills, and the phone lay where she had dropped it. The ominous message burned into her memory. She whispered to herself, "I need to keep moving." Every small task felt like a battle, every breath like resistance. Emily opened the fridge, its emptiness greeting her with a chill worse than the morning air. She pulled out a half-empty carton of milk, closing her eyes at the thought of how little she had left to give. Her friend Sarah's words from weeks ago echoed, "You can't do this alone forever." Emily hated how true it felt now. She placed the milk on the table, took a deep breath, and whispered to the silent room, "We'll survive, even if it breaks me." Later that day, Emily walked into the office where she worked as a paralegal, her shoulders hunched under invisible weight. She forced a smile as she greeted coworkers, but the exhaustion in her eyes betrayed her. Her boss, Mr. Whitman, called her into his office. His voice was clipped, professional. "Emily, your performance has been slipping. We need consistency." Her throat tightened, words catching. "I understand, sir. I'll do better." But inside, fear coiled, whispering that Daniel's chaos was spilling into every corner of her life. As she left his office, her coworker Sarah stopped her. Sarah, her loyal friend, placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone in this, remember that." Emily smiled weakly, grateful but unable to shake the dread gnawing at her resolve. She whispered to herself, "I can't lose my job too." The office hum faded into background noise, her thoughts drowning out everything else. After work, Emily sat across from Sarah at a small cafe, the late afternoon sun spilling golden light across chipped tables. Sarah leaned forward, concern etched into her face. "Emily, you can't keep pretending you're fine. What's happening?" Emily stirred her coffee, unable to meet her friend's eyes. "Daniel, he's not done with me. He wants Lily." The words cracked in her throat. Sarah reached across the table, squeezing Emily's hand. "You'll fight this. I'll help you." Emily blinked back tears, her chest heavy with both gratitude and despair. "He's stronger, richer. He'll crush me." Sarah shook her head firmly. "You're stronger than you think." The cafe noise buzzed around them, but for Emily, the world narrowed to that fragile bond of friendship holding her together. For the first time that day, she allowed herself to breathe, even if only for a moment. Night fell as Emily walked home, the city streets glowing under harsh neon lights. Lily held her hand, skipping lightly beside her, unaware of the storm building in the shadows. Emily forced a smile, hiding her fear beneath practiced warmth. As they passed a storefront, Emily's phone buzzed again. She glanced at the screen. Another message. "You think you can keep her from me?" Her heart dropped, her grip tightening around Lily's hand. Lily looked up, confused. "Mommy?" Emily forced steadiness into her voice. "It's just work, sweetheart." Inside, her chest screamed with dread. She slipped the phone into her pocket quickly, unwilling to let her daughter see her unravel. The street felt suddenly colder, every shadow whispering threats. Emily quickened her pace, pulling Lily closer, whispering silently, "He won't take you from me. Not now, not ever." Back in the apartment, Emily tucked Lily into bed, watching her daughter drift into dreams unburdened by the chaos looming outside. Emily closed the door softly and leaned against it, her chest rising and falling with uneven breaths. The messages replayed in her mind like poison she couldn't spit out. She opened her laptop at the kitchen table, searching for lawyers she couldn't afford. Each number she dialed ended the same way: retainer fees too high, voices too cold. She slammed the laptop shut, pressing her forehead against the cool wood of the table. Tears spilled unchecked. She whispered into the silence, "How do I fight him alone?" The hum of the city outside felt like a cruel reminder of her isolation. Yet, as she wiped her tears, a flicker of resolve returned. She whispered again, firmer this time, "I will fight." Emily Carter sat in the lawyer's office, the smell of stale coffee mixing with the heavy tension. Across the desk, Ms. Reynolds explained, "Custody battles are brutal, Emily. Without resources, this will be uphill." Emily's throat tightened as she whispered, "I'll do anything to protect Lily." She glanced at the file, pages filled with Daniel's accusations, half-truths twisted into weapons. The lawyer's eyes softened. "We'll fight, but you must prepare for every secret he might use." Emily nodded, though dread gnawed at her stomach. She thought of her past, the mistakes she buried, now clawing their way into the present. The ticking clock on the wall amplified her heartbeat. Emily whispered to herself, "He won't break me." Yet, in her chest, fear throbbed with the weight of uncertainty. That evening, Emily sat on her bed, laptop open, scrolling through old photos. Each picture felt like a dagger, smiles from a life that no longer existed. She lingered on one image of Daniel, holding Lily as a baby, his grin wide and proud. Her chest ached as she whispered, "You were supposed to protect us." The shadows in the room deepened, the only light from the laptop screen. Emily closed the file quickly, as though erasing the memory could erase the pain. Lily's soft footsteps approached. "Mommy, are you sad?" Emily forced a smile. "No, sweetheart. Just tired." She pulled her daughter close, hiding her tears in her child's hair. The past was no longer a memory. It was ammunition, and Daniel would use every piece of it. At work the next day, Emily received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a faded photograph, her from years ago, holding a drink at a party, laughter wild and unrestrained. Her stomach dropped. Scrawled across the back, "Unfit mother." Her hands shook, her breath catching in her throat. She whispered, "He's digging into my past." She looked around the office, fear of judgment burning her skin, but no one seemed to notice. Sarah approached, spotting the photo. "Emily, who sent this?" Emily shoved it into her bag quickly. "No one, it's nothing." But her voice betrayed her terror. Inside, panic rose, whispering that Daniel had already begun to poison the ground beneath her feet. She clenched her jaw, telling herself, "He won't win. Not this way." Later that night, Emily stood outside on the apartment balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly. The cold wind whipped her hair as she gripped the railing tightly. She whispered into the dark, "How do I fight someone who knows all my weaknesses?" Memories of reckless nights, past mistakes, and choices she regretted surfaced like ghosts. She closed her eyes, shivering, not from the wind, but from the fear of losing Lily. Sarah's voice echoed in her mind, "You're stronger than you think." Emily's knuckles turned white as she held tighter, whispering, "I won't let him take her." In that moment, she decided she would face whatever came, no matter how ugly the truth. Her resolve grew sharper, forged in pain. The next morning, Emily received a call from Ms. Reynolds. "Dispatch." The lawyer's tone was heavy. "Daniel is filing for full custody. He's claiming your past proves you're unfit." Emily's breath left her body, sharp and ragged. She sat on the sofa, staring at Lily playing with her dolls on the floor, innocence untouched by the war surrounding her. Emily whispered, "Over my dead body." Her hands trembled, but her voice sharpened with fire. Miss Reynolds said, "We'll counter, but it won't be easy." Emily closed her eyes, drawing strength from her daughter's laughter. "Then we fight," she said, her voice steady despite the storm raging within. For the first time, defiance overtook her fear. The war was no longer looming. It had begun. Emily Carter sat alone in the dim kitchen, exhaustion pressing on her shoulders. A knock startled her, sharp and unexpected. She opened the door to find a woman she hadn't seen in over 15 years, her estranged sister, Anna. Dead. Anna's eyes carried the same stormy blue as their mother's, and her presence felt like a ghost stepping into the present. "Emily," Anna said softly, "I heard about Daniel. You need help." Emily froze, bitterness rising. "Why now?" The silence between them was thick, layered with years of absence and pain. Anna's gaze didn't waver. "Because you can't fight this alone, and I won't stand by anymore." Emily's heart pounded with confusion, anger, and the faintest thread of hope. Emily poured coffee into mismatched mugs, the silence between them crackling with tension. Anna leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "I know Daniel's tactics. He's ruthless, and he'll drag everything out of you." Emily clenched her jaw. "You weren't here when I needed you. Why should I believe you now?" Anna's expression flickered with regret. "Because I walked away once, and I'll regret it forever. Let me help you this time." Emily studied her sister's face, searching for sincerity. The years of hurt didn't vanish, but desperation carved cracks in her defenses. She whispered, "If you're lying, I'll never forgive you." Anna replied quietly, "Then I guess I'll just have to prove I'm not." Lily padded into the kitchen, rubbing her sleepy eyes. She froze when she saw Anna. "Mommy, who is she?" Emily knelt beside her daughter. "This is Anna, your aunt." Lily blinked, curiosity softening her fear. Anna crouched, voice gentle. "Hi, Lily. I've missed a lot, but I'd like to be here now." Emily's chest tightened at the sight, her daughter facing the sister she had buried in memory. Lily hesitated before stepping closer, clutching her stuffed toy. "Do you like pancakes?" she asked shyly. Anna smiled, tears glistening. "I love pancakes." Emily watched the fragile bridge form, her heart torn between anger, mistrust, and the smallest flicker of healing. Later, Emily and Anna sat together on the balcony, city lights flickering below. Emily's voice trembled. "He has pictures of my past. He's using them against me." Anna looked away, guilt crossing her face. "I know. I heard from someone close to him. That's why I came." Emily's heart clenched. "You've been watching me?" Anna's tone was low, pain. "From a distance. I didn't know how to make it right until now." Silence stretched heavy. Emily finally said, "If you betray me again, I won't survive it." Anna's hand brushed Emily's. "I won't, not this time." The night air carried both unease and a fragile promise of redemption. Emily returned inside to check on Lily, who was asleep, her tiny breath steady and peaceful. She stood at the doorway, watching her daughter dream, and whispered, "I'll never let him take you." Anna appeared behind her quietly. "You're stronger than you realize. But strength doesn't mean you have to be alone." Emily looked back at her sister, conflicted yet softened by the truth in her words. For the first time in years, the idea of not being alone didn't feel like betrayal but survival. She whispered, "Then, stay." Anna nodded. "I'm not leaving again." The quiet apartment seemed to breathe with them, carrying a fragile hope through the darkness. The petition arrived by courier, heavy as a verdict before the fight began. Emily Carter stared at the bold type, feeling the room tilt. Ms. Reynolds said, "He is seeking full custody and emergency orders." Emily swallowed hard. "He wants to erase me." Anna stood behind her chair, steady as a brace. "Then we push back," Anna said. Ms. Reynolds opened a red file and tapped the pages. "We need affidavits, timelines, witnesses, and proof of stability." Emily said, "I have Lily's teacher, our pediatrician, our rent receipts." The lawyer nodded. "Good, but he will weaponize your past." Emily breathed in, slow and sharp. "Then I tell the truth first." The words scared her, yet they steadied her more than denial ever had. At work, the summons shadowed every keystroke. Mr. Whitman called her in, jaw set. "We have clients complaining about missed deadlines," he said. Emily answered, "I can fix this. I'm handling a custody case." His gaze cooled. "Personal matters cannot sink the team." Sarah waited outside, worry etched bright. Emily said, "If I lose this job, I lose the case." Sarah whispered, "I'll cover your filings, take the afternoon." Emily exhaled like surf hitting rock. "Thank you," she said, fragile but fierce. Mr. Whitman added, "1 week of probation. Prove you're present." She nodded, clutching the door handle as if it were the last rung on a cliff. The court evaluator arrived with a clipboard and a practiced calm. Monica Patel said, "I need to observe routines and ask hard questions." Emily guided her through the apartment, heart drumming. Lily waved shyly, then returned to coloring. Monica asked, "Who assists with child care?" Emily said, "I do most of it. My sister helps." Her phone buzzed with a message she refused to check. Monica's eyes tracked the tidy kitchen, the chore chart, the calendar dense with school notes. "Tell me about conflict," Monica said. Emily answered, "I keep it outside this door." Lily looked up and smiled at her mother, and the smile steadied them both. Monica wrote something down, expression unreadable. In a corner cafe, steam rose between two women who had weathered years together. Sarah's hands shook. "I need to tell you something." Emily's stomach tightened. "Please don't," Sarah said. "Daniel cornered me outside work. I thought I could handle him. I slipped, and I told him your court date." The air went thin. Emily said, "Why would you do that?" Sarah blinked hard. "He implied he knew where Lily plays after school." Silence landed like ice. Emily pressed her palms to the table. "You should have told me." Sarah whispered, "I am telling you now, and I'm sorry." Hurt flared, then cooled into resolve. Emily said, "We lock down everything. And you stay away from him." They met in the courthouse corridor, where ceilings echoed and nerves frayed. Daniel stood with his attorney, Mr. Kemp, smug and polished. Daniel said, "This ends soon." Emily stepped closer, voice low. "Not the way you think." Ms. Reynolds arrived, eyes flinty. "We have exhibits, witnesses, and a timeline that undercuts your claims." Daniel's smile thinned. Mr. Kemp drawled, "Well, see how the evaluator reads it." Anna moved to Emily's side like a shield. "She is not alone," Anna said. The clerk opened the courtroom doors. Emily touched the locket at her throat and whispered, "For Lily." Fear rose, but purpose rose higher, bright as a blade catching light. The courtroom hummed with tension as Emily entered, locket clasped tightly. Daniel smirked from across the room, arms crossed, a shadow in his tailored suit. Ms. Reynolds whispered, "Stick to the facts." Emily nodded, chest tight but chin up. The judge's gavel echoed. "We begin with testimony." Lily's teacher spoke first, calm and detailed, describing Emily's dedication. Monica Patel followed, outlining observations of routines and emotional stability. Daniel's attorney attempted interruptions, but Ms. Reynolds countered each smoothly. Emily felt a tremor in her hand gripping her locket. This was the moment everything balanced on words, documents, and unwavering resolve. Daniel took the stand, posture rigid, eyes scanning the room. "I am a devoted father," he said, voice controlled. Ms. Reynolds asked about schedules, past conflicts, and threats. Daniel deflected and smirked. Emily's stomach knotted. Anna whispered, "Keep calm." Each answer revealed cracks under polish. Witnesses submitted evidence, texts, photographs, receipts. Daniel shifted in his chair, irritation rising. The evaluator confirmed routines, emotional stability, and consistency. Emily felt a cautious pulse of hope. Daniel's arrogance collided with facts. Every moment etched clarity. Truth carried weight he could not erase. Emily was called to testify, voice trembling yet precise. "I provide a stable, loving environment," she said. Questions circled custody logistics, co-parenting history, and incident reports. Daniel shifted, scowling. Emily felt adrenaline sharpen her focus. Each example of care, every log, every witness reinforced her story. Anna sat close, hand over Emily's, silent strength. The room exhaled as Monica Patel corroborated Emily's statements, detailing consistency and calm in conflict situations. Daniel's attorney attempted interruption, but the judge intervened. Emily drew a deep breath. This was not just testimony. It was proof that love and responsibility outweighed fear. The judge leaned forward, eyes scanning exhibits. After reviewing testimony and evidence, the court finds. A hush fell. Daniel's jaw tightened. Emily gripped Anna's hand. The gavel struck wood. Custody shall remain primarily with Emily Carter. Supervised visitation granted as deemed appropriate. Relief flooded through Emily, eyes misting. Anna squeezed her shoulder, whispering, "You did it." Daniel looked stunned, his lawyer murmuring. The room exhaled collectively. Lily, escorted in, ran into Emily's arms. The weight lifted, leaving triumph, tears, and the quiet understanding that steadfast truth and love had prevailed. Outside the courthouse, cold wind lifted papers and spirits alike. Lily held Emily's hand tightly, skipping beside her. "Mommy, I'm so happy," she said. Emily smiled, voice cracking with relief. Anna carried a coffee, laughter dancing in her eyes. "You earned this," she said. Emily inhaled the crisp air, savoring freedom and stability. Daniel lingered behind, defeated, watching their unity. Ms. Reynolds collected files and notes, a satisfied glint in her eye. Emily kissed Lily's forehead, whispering promises she would never break. Every struggle, every sleepless night, every anxious moment had led to this, a quiet victory grounded in love, proof that resilience could reshape a life. A week had passed since the custody ruling. Emily walked through the quiet park with Lily, sunlight filtering through amber leaves. Birds chirped, wind whispered through branches. "Mommy, Can we feed the ducks today? Lily asked, skipping ahead. Emily smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Anna followed, holding a thermos of tea, laughing softly at Lily's antics. Conversations were light, tinged with relief. Emily recounted the courtroom tension to Anna, voice warm and calm. Anna nodded, approving her courage. The world felt brighter. Every step was a claim on stability, a promise of nurturing laughter and normalcy after months of fear and uncertainty. Emily prepared dinner in the cozy kitchen, humming softly. Lily perched on a stool, coloring. The scent of roasted vegetables filled the air. Anna entered with groceries, dropping them onto the counter. I brought extra for tomorrow, she said, smiling. Emily laughed, ruffling Lily's hair. The three discussed school projects, plans for the weekend, and small ambitions. Daniel's absence was a silent relief. The tension that had shadowed every meal now lifted, replaced with warmth. Emily realized she was reclaiming her home and her life. Each ordinary action carried meaning, a testament to resilience, love, and the quiet power of regained control over her family's future. Later, Emily tucked Lily into bed. I love you, Lily murmured, eyes half closed. I love you too always, Emily whispered, brushing hair from her daughter's forehead. Anna stood in the doorway, smiling quietly. The room glowed softly from a nightlight, shadows dancing across bookshelves and stuffed animals. They discussed dreams, hopes for the weekend, and little secrets. Emily felt the weight of fear dissolve, replaced by deep calm. The battle had ended, but this quiet night was its own victory. The safety of home, laughter, and gentle voices filled the room. Emily realized that courage was not just in confrontation. It lived in love, presence, and consistency. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the living room. Emily and Anna sipped coffee while Lily played with building blocks. The sound of birds outside and distant city hum mixed with quiet laughter. Plans for the day were simple but joyful. A walk to the library, ice cream at the corner shop, a visit to friends. Emily reflected on months of struggle, legal battles, and sleepless nights. Each step forward felt earned. Anna suggested documenting the journey in photos and journal entries. Emily agreed. Today was not just ordinary. It was symbolic, a celebration of regained agency, familial bonds, and the subtle triumph of daily life over chaos. As evening fell, the trio sat on the porch, watching the sun dip behind distant rooftops. Emily wrapped a blanket around Lily, feeling the cool breeze. Anna brought out tea and cookies, laughter spilling over. They reflected on the past, sharing lessons and gratitude. Emily felt a deep peace. The battles, uncertainty, and challenges had been met with courage and patience. Daniel was a shadow of the past, irrelevant in the light of their present. Lily's laughter echoed, filling spaces once heavy with fear. Emily realized that true victory was not confrontation, but the calm, consistent love they had nurtured together. Life felt full, hopeful, and right.